Dave here with Half Dozen Customs. Back out on the Jeep this evening. So this morning, I was able to make it up to Harbor Freight. I got my blade that I needed. So we got a new blade on the chop box. Ooh, don't fall over, guys. So, new blade on the chop box. So we're ready to rock and roll on cutting that thing. I got a couple other things. I got some new safety spectacles. I got some new gloves. I got a couple of plier sets. I will show you guys those in another video. The video, actually, you'll probably see the video before you see this one. So, anyways, you'll probably have to go back in time to see it. I got a little project that I'm on side with those pliers. So, what else did I get? I thought I replaced my hole saw that we damaged last night. Either I didn't look close enough, or Harbor Freight, their individual hole saws that they sell don't match my set. So for me, I think what's going on, I think in order to replace my one that I burnt up, I have to buy a whole new set. Or I can buy these individual ones and replace them, but they're not for my set. They're actually longer than my set, so they don't fit in my case. So little disappointed with that. I haven't opened it yet because it doesn't fit in my case. I'm gonna have to go back up there and just make sure that they don't actually sell the individual ones. I thought, and I brought it with me too. I had it in my pocket, and I just grabbed the size, and I grabbed the wrong size too. But anyways, one of the things that I grabbed that was unexpected, they had this guy on the discount shelf, no box, no nothing, for 25 bucks. So my drill that I smoked last night that I burnt up, we got a nice little replacement for him. He seems heavy duty. He's just a Chicago electric guy. I plugged him in, he works, I hit the trigger, he sounds pretty nasty, pretty gnarly. So I think we got another arm ripper here. But yeah, other than that, I think I grabbed a new keyway for drills. For one, that guy was missing his keyway. I have some keyways around here, but it's kind of hit or miss if they work for the stuff that I have. And the main thing that I grabbed this keyway for, which I'm still a little disappointed about, is I don't have a keyway for this. This is what I have, and he fits in there, but he don't fit really good. He's actually kind of sloppy in there. And this guy, he fits a little bit better. I don't even think you guys are getting to see. So he fits a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know what to, like, I don't know if maybe I need to grind him down so that he fits in this hole. I'm almost half tempted to order a new drill head for this guy. That was my grandpa's drill. He's no longer with us, but I ended up getting that when he passed away. So, and it didn't come with the keyway, and none of the keyways I have fitted. So I thought maybe that 4-way keyway was gonna solve my issues. I think part of the reason that I'm having such a problem with it is I think that the holes, the 3 holes that are on each side that you stick the keyway in to crank it, I think they're so wore out and so oblong that none of the keys I have really work for it, because every time you go to turn it, it just pops out of the hole. So that's why I'm thinking maybe it's time to just order a new head for it. But as of right now, it's working fine. But I think I'm going to I'm going to grind up some of these welds that are on here that we didn't get cleaned up last night. And then we'll take a measurement for our new bar, and we'll get him cut and kind of set in place. So enough talking, enough chit chatting. Let's get to some grinding. Like I said, I'm just gonna, you know, we have these few welds in here. There's a couple on the top. Not really too concerned about these, but I want to clean up these bottom guys, both sides. You know, we get some big boogery bugs in there. So let's get those cleaned up real quick, and then we'll take some measurements. So, but I think it was a good day at Harbor Freight. They had a sale this weekend, bunch of discounts, and you're able to use all your discount. Like normally you're only allowed to use one discount when you go in there, but they had 3 this weekend that you could use, and then we had like our Harbor Freight bucks. So we were able to use that too. So we had like 4 discounts on everything that we bought. So it was pretty good. Oh yeah, and I got a whole bunch of whiz wheels. They had cutoff blades for the little guys. They were having a closeout sale. Like a pack of 25 of them were $6. And I pay, normally for a pack of 25, I pay $12. So for half price, I got 25. So I was able to get 2 of them for the same price as I get 1. And then I got some 4-inch cutoff wheels. And those were on sale for $5, which is like half of what I normally spend. And then we also got the cone guy that I've been using underneath the Monte Carlo to clean up the Monte Carlo. I got a new one of those. So yeah, just kind of all around picked up some stuff that I was running low on. Got a new grinder because my one grinder's been acting up. This guy, he's a Harbor Freight guy, but he's one of the cheap ones. I've actually been buying the better ones now, but he's been loosening up and not wanting to work. So yeah, but the only thing that was a bust was the hole saw. I'm a little disappointed with that, and I'm hoping maybe I just missed it and grabbed the wrong ones, but I think their single individual ones are not the ones that are sold in the case, which is a bummer. Measurement inside here. Of course not. Okay, so for those of you that may not know this, some people do, some people don't. like a tape measure. If you have a decent tape measure, it'll say on it. Not all tape measures have it, but like the base of this from like my front finger to my thumb is 3 inches. It says across the bottom. So if you can't, if you can't go across something, to get your reading, and you need to use this as a measurement, this one, like that one's 3 inches, but it won't fit in the frame rail. And the reason I grabbed that one is because it's 3 inches. This one's 2 7/8. So now I got to break out my phone and add it up. But because I can't get into the inside of the frame rail, I can push my thing all the way up inside the frame rail, and I know that that's 2 7/8. So we are at 28, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 28 5/8 plus the 2 7/8. So okay, so we got our new blade today. So I said that earlier. It marked out 31 and a half. I'll double check my measurement real quick just to make sure. Hopefully this will cut through this. Normally when I get framing like this, I get 2x4, and that's what I asked for. But somehow I ended up with 2x5, which is okay for this application, what we're doing. I'm not sure if this is going to go all the way through or not. So let's give it a go and find out. Super close. I think if I would have brought our adjustment forward, which it may be all the way forward, we may be able to finish that guy off in one shot. Couldn't have done that with my little shorty blade that was on there. So. Oh, wow, that metal casing I should have saved. Okay. I think that's about where we're gonna go. That gives us enough room to still put the bumpers on. And it looks like it gives us, if you look here, it gives us probably about 1.25 inches or so more room this way to fit our harmonic balancer and our pulley. So that'll be much better. Next thing that we gotta do is we gotta cut the front of this off. I'll throw it in the sandblaster, and we'll get it tacked to the front of that bar. And then before that bar gets welded in, we'll put the front end back together. We'll put the fenders back on and the grill back on, and we'll get everything bolted up where it should go. And then we'll get that bar tacked in place. So. With cutting this off here and welding this to the front, I can always shorten this up. I can always add a little and lengthen it to get that center bar wherever we need. So this is basically like where this sat before. So So it almost looks like if we just cut it off, I mean, this will mount right on the front, and I think we'll be good. So, and you can see how much more this stuck out in the back here, which was giving us, I wouldn't say clearance issues, but it was tight with getting the harmonic balancer and the pulley set up on there. It was tight. So we're pretty much knocking off this whole back edge and the ugly. We knocked off the ugly. That was the main thing that bothered me, was this thing has just been hacked and torched and pieced together. Yeah, it just, to me, I didn't like that. So one step closer to being able to get this front end on. And like I showed you guys before in the video, how bent this piece is, you know, how buckled, it's cracked, it's dipping down this way. When we get this thing back on straight, I'm really hoping that the front end's going to sit straight now. You know, the front end was crooked, so I think with this whole setup, that's going to fix that. So we will see, not tomorrow, tomorrow's Mighty Monday, we will see on Tuesday. So we will see you then for some more front end action on this Jeep. We left off the other night with getting this piece cut and test fit in there. And I think that we're gonna be good. I'm gonna start off this morning with, we're gonna cut this piece from here, and we're gonna see if it's straight. I've shown you guys in other videos. You guys are all dusty. I showed you in the last video or the video before that, that it was all bent and crooked. It's bent and crooked bad. You know, I don't know if you guys can see it in the camera, but it is tweaked this way. So I'm hoping that if we just cut that piece off, that the front section is okay. I'm hoping that the back part of it is what's all tweaked and holding that front section up in place. So we need to cut that piece off, and that piece needs to get, you know, mounted up here somewhere. So if I need to, you know, cut another section off of the rest of the bar that we have left over and remake that piece, I have no problem with that. But I think cutting this piece off and sandblasting it is way quicker than having to remake it. So let's just take a couple minutes, cut it off. We'll check it and see if it, you know, sits on the table straight. If it sits on the table all wonky, then I'm just gonna make a new one. But let's cut this off and see. If it comes out straight, I'm gonna throw it in the blaster and we'll get it blasted up. And then we're gonna put the front end back on the Jeep, so we can figure out where this needs to go. So part of the, you know, for one, that piece that I cut out was horrendous. So that was my main reason for replacing that piece, because that piece had been so hacked and cut with torches and garbage welded back together. It was just a very bad piece of the frame. So I wanted to cut it out, replace it with something nice and new, because you see it when you open the hood. So that was my main reason for doing it. The reason that behind my buddy wanting to do it was because that piece that we cut out was super close to the motor. So we were able to scoot that forward some and give us some more clearance in the motor. So we need to mock up the front end and find the position that it needs to be in, and make sure that all our check marks are marked. Looks good in there and gives us more clearance in the motor. And number 3 is we're going to be adding a lot more strength back to the front of that vehicle. It was so cut up and hacked up, it had lost all its durability. So let's get to cutting. They had it welded right there. That's what took me a minute to cut through when I was cutting it off of there, was their giant weld. So right there, that feels good sitting on, you know, the flat table. This here, it looks like I need to take a little off of this guy here. Okay, you know, first initial little glance of it, I think it looks good. Okay, so now we're gonna reassemble the front end on this fender. This is the passenger side fender we just cut and trimmed the other day. There's a couple things that we got to do here. So this fender's still a mess. I haven't done anything with it, but I don't know if it's from the factory. I think it's from the factory because this one had it and so does this one, but it's like they put like some kind of seam sealer or dum-dum or something like in between the panels. So I don't want this like holding us up from bolting the fender correctly. So I'm gonna take that stuff off, and then we need to, this is where we were cutting out for the motor mount, and this is where I was hanging up. So I'm gonna take this line, we're gonna you know, bring it straight across. Then that way we're not hanging up on the motor mount anymore. It does bring us up a little higher from the frame, you know, from above the frame than I would like to go. But looking at the driver's side fender, like it's cut straight across. So then that way they match. That one's cut straight, this one's cut straight. So let's start. I'm gonna get a torch and a scraper, and we'll get this gunk off of here, and then we'll cut that. I'm gonna try this, where we were cutting out for the motor mount, like it fits the motor mount perfectly, like what we did, but it's going uphill. Like if we were to continue with this line, like it would go all the way like so. And I don't really want to curve. I don't think there's gonna be much we can do here other than try and get just try and get it as straight as possible. But so I've said in well, since the very beginning that I was going to come back and I was going to make a lip for the bottom of this fender. I don't know if we're going to do that anymore. What I'm going to suggest, and I think he'll be okay with because it'll save time, is we'll just put some of that rubber door edge guard along the bottom of it, and call it a day. I think it'll look just fine. It'll look good. Nobody will know the difference. Nobody will know that stuff is missing. They might see the door edge guard and be like, that's not normal, but I think it'll look good. So, not that I'm trying to cut any corners or anything, but I think that that's a lot of time spent on something that nobody's really going to see. It's not the prettiest, but this is just test fitting. We'll figure that out later. If I got a bust a little bead here to kind of straighten this out, then that's what we'll do. But I wanted to try, by cleaning that stuff off and cleaning this up here, I'm kind of trying to, even though this is just test fitting, for making this piece down here, like I want everything to be kind of in its final resting place, because once this piece gets welded in, like that's it, like it ain't coming back out. So we need to, I want to fully bolt up the fender. We're going to put all the bolts in both fenders and in the grill and get everything as close as we possibly can to what it'll look like at the end of the day. Bag of bolts. Let's see what we got here. Passenger side fender. Just gonna try and snug up this top bolt a little. I cannot get the bottom one in. Just looking at this gap here, we had that gap before and it was different from the other side, and I was hoping that this would, was the core support holding it all up. that's interesting. That could be what's holding this thing up. So, are you guys there? So I hadn't caught this yet. So, you got a nice top bolt there. I mean, it's cracked. We're gonna have to weld it. Nice bolt there. And then, bam, where's that bolt hole? Oh, it's way inside that Bondo. That whole corner down there is Bondo. So that could be what's holding our fender up. Okay, I wasn't expecting to do body work today. I thought that was just going to be test and tune. Let's get the grinder and start grinding that out. Now this whole cab corner is getting replaced. We have a new one, like we did on the other side. But I'm not there yet for replacing this piece. Most of that right there, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is bad metal work here. This is all gonna have to get cut out and replaced. You know, I think the new skin comes, you know, somewhere in there. So, you know, some of this is gonna have to get fixed in here. But that was just pure laziness. Somebody didn't want to grind down their weld. That's why all that Bondo was there. Like, I ground down the weld and it's almost, you know, I wouldn't say it's flat, but it's close. I ran a tap through these. There must have been something down in that bottom one, because I even had a hard time getting the tap in it. Like, I ran the tap through the top two. They went through with minimal issues. You know, they probably haven't been ever cleaned out, or at least in a long time. But the bottom one, I still couldn't get it started. I had to tap on it with a hammer a little bit to get it to like set in there, and then I was able to get it tapped out. So, but while you guys were downloading, I kind of squirreled. So, changing out the body mounts. We had talked about it the other day that on the front I got rid of all the old crusty tires that they had as body mounts, and we replaced it with the hockey puck. We actually looked up new body mounts for this truck, and they're basically a hockey puck. So I'll show you here real quick on my phone. So this is them. Looks like a hockey puck to me. So I'm not, you know, they're cheap, but I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna spend the money to get them and then have to wait for them and this and that. I'll just make them. So for the front grille, you know, we just drilled a hole in the center of the hockey puck, and that's now the new body mount. Back ones, same thing, just gonna drill a hole in the center of the hockey puck. Front ones, they have, I was looking at them, so they have this little lip that comes down here, and there's no way that the hockey puck would fit in there unless I like cut the side off of the hockey puck, and I don't want to do that. I don't think that that would look right. So I got the hockey puck and the drill press over there. I already did one of them, and I was getting ready to do the second one, and I was like, oh man, I need to video this before I finish it. So yeah, so here we go. Making body mounts out of hockey pucks. The other side, it wasn't bad to do, but it did not want to drill all the way through. Once we got down to probably about an 1/8 inch left, maybe a little more than an 1/8 inch, it started to want to spin the hockey puck. So I think I'm going to try not to rush this one, go a little slower, let the bit kind of cool off in between. Because I think what had happened was the hole saw itself was getting hot, and it was grabbing the edge of the hockey puck. Also, I have it in there clamped too, and the more that I go down with it, the more that the outside of the hockey puck was squishing due to the clamp. So I ended up having to flip the other one over. And attack it from the other side. Drilled out hockey pucks before and used them for body mounts. Never ran a hole saw through one though. I was surprised that it worked the first time I tried it, but hey, it worked. Little one. Little one. So now from over here at our body mount making station, we come over here to the fine tune station. So I can get the new bolt in. Alright, she's warm. I'm gonna let her cool off. So that's for the other side, and I just decided to just make that one real quick and get it out of the way because I need to drill a hole in the next one. The next bolt. Ow! Jammed my thumb. I jammed it with my thumb. So I bought that little 4-way at Harbor Freight. I'm half tempted to dig the package out for this thing and go return it because it's junk. I tried to use it on one of my other drills, just a regular drill, and it took the teeth right off. So I think I'm gonna go return him. He was $10. He shouldn't have broke right away. Never hit a drill press any other time that I made these. Definitely makes it a lot nicer than trying to find center and drill it with it clamped into a vise. Now, I don't know if I got exact center, but I'm darn close. Alright, we got a hole in her. So this one's for the back. So hopefully we can get this to fit in here. So here's kind of the thing. So I took all the chunks of tire out that they had for a body mount over there, and I held it up to this, and it was the same. So up in the front, all good. Back here, on the other hand, all they had was one tire, you know, probably a little more than a quarter of an inch, you know, for a tire. So, you know, took about a quarter inch off of this. So we're probably looking at, you know, maybe a 3/8 difference from what was in there before. So I just went on YouTube and decided to look on YouTube and see like what's out there. Like, you know, I typed in 49 Jeep Willys, and I looked, you know, I went through a handful of videos, and they were all the same. They all had probably about 3/4 of an inch gap, maybe 2 fingers to 3/4 of an inch gap between this step and the cab corner. So it was never, you know, never right to begin with. So, you know, I think we're going to be closer to what it's supposed to be. So here's where we're at up here. So you can see they have like one tire or one piece of rubber in there. So earlier I couldn't get the bolt or the spring or anything out of there, until I got it jacked up and I dropped the washer. There it is. Okay, got a little washer. So it's kind of weird, you know. They got these little spring dealies. So yeah, so that's it. That's all they had in there before, which I do not believe was correct. So I think, me personally, I think that our hockey puck setup is going to be a little bit better of a body mount than what they had here prior. So let's take a look. That's it. I had taken all the steering loose and everything, to make sure that, you know, the steering was able to move with the body. So I think we're good. For one, I am much happier than this, because look at my fresh primer. You know, that's from the bottom of the cab. And when I took this truck apart, there was a perfect wear mark where you could see that the cab had been on the paint, and it was down into their, you know, 1/2 inch of Bondo that they had on them. So much better, I think. Okay, now I can see. You guys blinded me. So I think that is so much better. Alright, I'll be back and we'll do the other side. Alright, went and refilled my coffee and had me a little sandwich. So we're back out here. You guys got to see just a few moments ago that we had switched out the body mounts on the one side. So we're gonna come over here and we're gonna do the little body mounts here as well. So I don't know if you guys can see the bolt there, but you see how that bottom bolt is on an angle, and you can see up top how it's angled. I'm hoping now, with the body not being bolted down and everything being loose, that we can push the cab back a little and straighten those out. Alright, because the top is on such an angle, I can't really get, man, I can't get anything on it. And the impact is just knocking it off. There we go. Alright, now oh yeah, there was two on there. That's why I was having a problem. I forgot all about that. They had two bolts on there for like a lock. So you can see on this bolt, maybe there's like a chunk out of here and a chunk out of here from it being on an angle for all those years, wearing into the bolt. All right, let's check the back here. All right. How's it look under there? Sorry for the leaky airline. There's been, between this and my Monte Carlo, there's been a lot of air hammer and air chisel work lately, which wore out my new fitting real fast. Bolt's all rusty. I can't get the wrench on it. There we go. Now I think we got it. Now I probably got it on there backwards. Okay. We'll get the jack. Fingers crossed this side goes up just as easy as the other side did. Beauty, yes. Okay, so we gotta drill one more hole over here. All right, last body mount made. facing the wrong way here. Oh, my wrench was still on there. Coming down. All right. Oi. Oh. Ah. Okay. Going down. I think we need to adjust that front one. I guess I didn't have it in the correct spot. Let's see. I grabbed a new bolt. I'll grab a new washer back here. Nice new washer. Oh, I already had a washer. It's down over there. Like, that is way off. What do you think? Can I move this cab by myself? So, just looking at this. So if you look along this frame rail, and then look at this side, look at how much it's hanging over the frame rail. So it looks like it needs to go that way. Alright, body mounts are done. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all this hardware that we have here, and I'm gonna sandblast it, and we'll spray it with some 2-in-1, and then we'll put this back together. But I wanna blast it and clean it all up. Try and get them as clean as possible. You know, I'm surprised with how rusty they look, that they came apart as easy as they did. So I don't think that these are gonna go back together tonight. Sandblast them, paint them, we'll leave them sit overnight. But as long as we have, let's see, I definitely moved that side of the cab over, which was think it was a 1/4 inch difference. So we're about at the bottom of that 3 1/8. So 3 3/8. So I'd say this side of the cab still has to go back. So let's see if we can get that. Still a 1/4 of an inch. It was 1/4 of an inch off the other day. Okay, definitely move that time. So the whole thing scooted back some. We're 3 1/16 now. So now we're 3 1/8. So now instead of it being a 1/4 inch off, it's a 1/16 off. You know, me personally, I'm okay with that. A 1/16 of an inch off from side to side, and we're going off of a homemade bed or a custom made bed. So who's to say that the measurements on the bed are right? But I know before when you were looking down, like you could see that one side was wider than the other when you were looking in between the cab. So, you know, don't look at the top because I haven't put the brace in yet. There's a brace that goes in there that'll hold that straighter. It's kind of, and the back of the cab is caved in as well, which I don't think we're going to be able to do much about that. You can see how much Bondo they have back here. We'll have to see what's going on back here, but it's right where this brace is. What I may end up having to do, we may have to go purchase a porta power and go from like the floor down there up to these bolts with the porta power and push this back. Because I think at some point in time, like something slid forward and hit the back of the back of the cab. I mean, you can see how much Bondo's on there, but I don't know what's all back here. Until we get this stripped off, I'm not worried about it. But I do know that there's a lot of filler back there. But other than that, I'm much happier with that. So I was wondering, so I had measured the gap between the step and this cab corner. So remember I told you when it came in, those cab corners were touching the bottom of the cab, or the cab corners were touching the top of the step. A couple of videos that I looked at, you know, one looked like it was maybe 1/2 inch, the other one looked like it was maybe 2 fingers. So I was at 1 inch, you know, we're still at 1 inch. So I was hoping that maybe this side was still up over there because this side was down. But yeah, we're about 1 inch over here too, so we match, we're good. As long as we match, I'm okay with that. You know, it's I had stuck my finger in there. I mean, it's just a little bit fatter than my finger. So, you know, me personally, I think it's a little odd that they don't touch because the bottom of the fender has a runner on it that goes underneath the cab. You know, that runner goes underneath the cab here. And the way that they had it before, with the cab sitting on the steps, they were even in it, and it looked right, you know. But now with it being up like that, they don't match. Like the one from the fender is going to be here, and the one for the steps is going to be here. But like I said, I looked them up, and you know, I seen, you know, I didn't go through hundreds of pictures or videos or anything, but I kind of skipped through like 6 videos on YouTube, and they all have a gap there. So, and they were all fully restored ones that I was clicking on. I wasn't looking at, you know, barn finds or rat rods or anything like that. I was looking at fully restored ones, and they had a gap there. So I think we're gonna roll with it. Like I said, I'm gonna sandblast this stuff up, and then we'll be back. You guys already watched me sandblast one thing today. I'm not gonna make you watch another. So I'll be back when we have these things punched into a box or something so that we can paint them. I'll see you guys soon. All right, we're back after a little sandblast in here. So got them all cleaned up. Took a little while. That rust was pretty thick on there. But we got it. Got some 2-in-1. I grabbed some from the Ace the other day when I was there. Normally I get it from Menards, my 2-in-1. Little shake in the paint shaker. So this thing's you can buy these. It's pretty cool. But somebody, actually my buddy that owns this Jeep, when he moved into his house, it was pretty much fully furnished, and the shop was just packed full of stuff. And he was gonna throw this thing out. He had no idea what it was. And I was like, hey, that's a paint can shaker, I'll take that. So he gave it to me. But somebody made this one. It's probably really old, but they made it out of like a torch can. That would have been where you could have refilled the old torch cans. Like you think of the blue or the yellow tall skinny torch cans. That's what somebody made this out of. Stuck an actual Sawzall blade in there. You can see that it's still got some teeth on it. That was probably made way before they were even on the market. So this will take 2 days to get done. We'll let this dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'll come out, we'll flip everything over, washers and springs. bolts, whatnot. And then we'll paint it from the other side. Alright, well, while that coat dries, take a little break and maybe clean up some of our mess from today. We'll go look outside too. We were, while I was sandblasting all this stuff, Colleen came out here and she had some awesome homemade spinach dip, so I had a little snack. But when I went outside, it was super foggy. And then when I stopped sandblasting inside the sealed sandblast cabinet, and I turned around and I looked around the shop looked really smoky. So I want to go see like how foggy it got outside. Like, did the fog creep into my shop? Because it looks like we were burning some stuff in here. But I'll see you guys in a little bit for the next coat. Or maybe I'll see you when it's done. I don't know, but I'm gonna clean up some stuff. See ya. Alright, we're back to wrap up the night. I did get these painted. Got 3 coats on them. I think that's more than enough. They look good. I even got underneath to get the bolt down there. Now tomorrow I'll come back tomorrow morning and we'll flip everything over. We'll flip the washers, the nut, we'll flip the springs over, and then I'll spin these so that I can hit the underneath again, just to make sure, or maybe I'll pull them out and we'll just, you know, hit the bottoms of them. Because you know where the cardboard's sitting, where they're punched in, the cardboard didn't get anything, so you know I'll probably just pull them out, hold them up, spray that little area, and then we'll be good. And then hopefully I'll do that first thing when I come out in the morning, and then you know hopefully by evening time we'll be able to reassemble Johnny 5. So it was kind of a squirrel mission today. I did not come out here and expect to rebuild all the body mounts. It was something that me and my buddy had talked about just last week about doing it. And he, you know, he kind of gave the okay to do it, agreed that it needed to be done. So it got done. And I'm super happy with everything. So I think it looks good. You know, the front maybe went up 1/4 of an inch from where it was, and the back went up you know, a little less than an inch. Like I said, we measured, you know, down there, that opening now, and that opening is an inch. And I had tried to, when I built those steps, I had a paint stick in between the cab corner and the step. A thick paint stick, not a thin one, one of the thicker paint sticks. So you know, the paint stick's probably an 1/8 inch. So there was already an 1/8 inch gap there. You know, we opened it up to right around an inch. So, you know, we lifted it up 7/8. That was the width of the hockey puck I used. It was 7/8 of an inch. So that's where the inch is at. We already had about an 1/8 inch, and then we did 7/8. So, you know, I'm not entirely happy with how far the steps are away from the cab. Only reason is because where the fenders, you know, those little dog legs that come off of the fenders down there, will no longer line up with that step, which they did when it came in. But apparently, after doing some research, they're not supposed to be like that. So super happy with everything that got done. I think we're okay to move on with the front now. After I get everything bolted down tomorrow, then we will move on with the front. Tomorrow we'll come out here, we'll get the front fenders put back on, we'll get the grille put back on. Hopefully by then we can put the rear body mounts back together. Being that everything's spring loaded, the back is not going to come down any when you tighten it, because when you tighten it, all it does is compress that spring. The front, on the other hand, though, when we tighten it, it may come down 1/8 of an inch in the front, you know, as it squeezes that hockey puck. So that's why we need to get everything bolted together before I do anything with the front, because, you know, it may squish it down a little bit. But good news is the cab is completely level. So as long as we build the front end to what is there now, like, we could always come back later and I could cut a 1/2 inch off of all the hockey pucks, and we could lower it down a 1/2 inch, and we could bring that step a little closer to that rear cab corner. If, you know, my buddy who owns the truck comes by and he's like, I don't like that. Which, anything's possible. But if he's okay with it, then I'm okay with it, and you know, we'll roll with it. If I would have had, like a chop bandsaw style that I could have clamped those hockey pucks in and taken a 1/2 inch off of each hockey puck, I would have, but I just don't have the proper tooling to do it. The only way I could have done it was with the whiz wheel, and there's no way we would have got it straight. But you know, it is what it is. Back out in the shop tonight. Actually, I've been out here all day. I just haven't been filming. Got some stuff done though. I cleaned up my workbench area. Earlier I did film a little tool upgrade. I had my little shop bender up there. We did a little upgrade video on that. But I got the front end of the Jeep back together. So super happy with our fitment here, and it's just sitting here right now. But if you remember, that side was up like 1 inch compared to a 1/4 inch over here. So the whole front end of the Jeep was tweaked up over here. If you remember our video yesterday where we had found a bunch of Bondo down here that was so thick that it was holding the front of this fender up, because it was so thick in here that the fender was actually mounted on an angle, and it was holding up the front of the fender here. So we got all that cleaned out yesterday. I did some more trimming in here. We did have to trim out for that shock mount. I thought we were going to clear it, but we weren't. It still, I think, needs a little bit more trimming. We're sitting on that engine mount right there. We don't have anything welded up underneath there. When I put the jack underneath it, it looks like we're close. We may be able to weld it. I may have to make a new one, but before I can even think about what we're gonna do with that, I gotta bolt the body back down with the body mounts. So I flipped those over first thing this morning, and I finished painting them. Crap, where'd those go? Oh, I already got the driver's side put back together. I figured I'd film the passenger side for you guys. So we're gonna do that real quick. So once the cab is all mounted down, then we can come back up here and we can figure out exactly what's going on up here. I did go to the trailer and I grabbed the hood out of there. And if you guys remember, I had talked about on the blue fender, there was a wear line going along the fender from the hood sitting on top of the fender and just rattling and vibrating, and it wore clear through, like, you know, probably an 1/8 inch of Bondo. It wasn't down to bare metal yet, it was still in the Bondo, but it was, you know, there was probably an 1/8 inch groove in the Bondo. So I did throw the hood on temporarily earlier, and we have a gap over there now. So with lowering the front of that fender down by clearing out all that Bondo, it gave us a gap. Now this gap over here, I forget what it was, you know, I didn't measure it. We're not up over this lip, but you know, we're probably really close to the top of that lip. So, you know, there's a gap probably, you know, like this much on this side. And, you know, research that I've done, they all are about that. So I'm okay with that. On the other side, it's not touching the fender anymore, but we're probably only half of what this side is. So it is still a little off on that side. But I gave the hood a little bit of a tweak, and it filled that gap, it made that gap a little larger. So I think once we get to you know, working with the hood, and we're gonna start getting this front end finish up, you know, I think a little tweaking and a little prying and pulling here and there, I think we can get that gap on that side of the fender a lot closer to this side. And excuse me, also there is these rubber things here which are petrified. They are hard as a rock. So I think we're gonna order some new ones of these. And then there is also supposed to be something that goes here. I don't know what, I'm gonna have to research it, but there's something that goes here on both sides that, you know, you can obviously see that there was something here. I don't know if it's just a rubber strip. You know, this up here was somebody took some of that foam that you put like around your door in the winter to keep the cold air out. So, you know, they used some house stuff on the Jeep, and it was mostly gone when I got it. But I think maybe with the proper gap, or the proper gaskets or rubber seals up here, and then some new rubber doohickeys up there, and not only that, but these as well when we replace these, because these are spring loaded, so they pull up and they clip into this. We're gonna get brand new ones, and then they should pull the hood down evenly, because when Colleen was out here, she helped me put the hood on. Like, she pushed down on this side of the hood and it opened the gap up. So I had already removed I removed those things over here, just so we can put them in the correct spot. For some odd reason, I don't know why, when we bought this front end, it came in pieces, and I put everything together. This driver's side over here with that hood, so this fender is supposed to match that hood. This was like too far forward. That little hooky guy thing was too far forward. So I removed it, I welded up the holes. You can see where it was sitting by this pitting right here. So I removed it, we welded up the holes. So when we get the new ones, I can put it back exactly where it needs to be. And I'm hoping that those little hooky guys will pull down the hood evenly on both sides. So we'll have, you know, new rubber doohickeys, new rubber gasket, new hooks. And I'm hoping that, you know, it'll pull everything where it needs to be, and we'll have matching gaps. But till we get all that stuff, I'm happy with the way that it was sitting earlier when we had the hood on. It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't on top of the fender anymore like it was. I talked about in other videos about possibly trimming that hood a little bit and making it match this side. But I don't think that we're gonna have to do that anymore. I think with everything that I have done to make this front end fit to the best of my ability, I think we have corrected that situation. So more to come in later videos on that, because we're not quite there yet. Today was just kind of a test fit to see if I had corrected anything, and I did. So enough gabbing. Let's get on to the body mount. So I put the driver's side together and everything went really smooth, and I'm real happy with how it went together and how it looks. So let's hope that this passenger side goes together just as easy. We're gonna have to bring the jack over here because we do have to jack the cab back up. I'm gonna turn your light on. Look at that light. So because I put the fenders on, I'm not able to use that long board that I used yesterday. These things are not the easiest to put in. I am so glad that they came apart as easy as they did yesterday. Because that could have been a pain in the butt. So now, where did my toolie go? Oh, I think I left it in the toolbox. Okay, so yesterday when we took all this apart, there was plenty of room for everything because they only had a piece of a sidewall of a tire in there for a body mount. So now that we got this big body mount in there, we have to use this cool tool here, which comes, so it pops that spring in there like so. And maybe if I had the right socket set up. So it's a little spring compressor. So what that tool is for, it's actually for, on older cars, they have a spring very similar to what this is, if not exact. I think they're a lot longer, but old cars, the doors work on a spring very similar to that. And that's what that tool is for. It's actually a door spring compressor. Oh, hang on. I did this on the other side too. You'd think I would have known. Oh. There's only a bolt on one side of this tool to tighten and loosen it, and I had the bolt facing up where I couldn't get to it. Watch out, guys. Okay, now we can send her home. Maybe. The other side, luckily I didn't have to fight this whole wrench thing. Yeah, I didn't have to fight this whole wrench thing. It just worked for me. Alright, I think we're good. I'm gonna grab a tape measure and just measure the other side real quick, make sure I got it just as tight on one side as I do the other. Well, I got about 5/8 sticking out on the other side, and we're the same here, so we're good. So, now we can flip around to this side. Now I may end up doing a little work on the cab part of this body mount because it looked, well, it didn't look, it is rusty up there, so I'm probably gonna end up pulling this bolt back out and doing some work there. Alright. So, body mounts are done, dude. So I was hoping, so when I did the front ones, you can see that it squishes the hockey puck the tighter you go, which I knew that it was going to do that. But the back ones, because they're spring loaded like they are, it does not compress the hockey puck because it just compresses the springs. So it's like the back cab is almost on a spring. So it has a little bit of some suspension in the back. You know, I guess whatever works. But yeah, that's it. So those are done. Now I think I can work on the front, and we can get the front buttoned up, which entails of welding that whole bar in and everything like that. I gotta pull that bar out, we gotta clean it up and get it ready to weld. But there was, so when we had this thing up on the lift, my buddy had looked up into like the rear cab corner area over here, and he was like, what are you gonna do about that rust up there? And it was in a pocket where the body mount is, and the body mount is in there, and like you can barely reach your hand up in there to like do the body mount, to take it off, put it on, whatever. Like you can barely get your hand in there. So up in this pocket, you know, 8 inches up underneath the back cab corner, he's like, how you gonna fix that rust? And I was like, I'm not. Like, I was just gonna try and reach up in there with some PR15 and lather it up, and then undercoat it, and, you know, goober the undercoating in there and just try and make it the best that we could. Earlier I was sitting here in the chair, and I was just sitting here looking at the truck, and I noticed that there was a piece of metal riveted in the floor area of the cab corner. And I was like, well, what the heck is that? Because yesterday when I was in there underneath there doing the body mounts in the back, when I was taking them down, I seen that rust hole again, and I was like, man, that sucks that that's up there and I can't get to it. And then this morning when I seen that patch sitting there, I was like, well, let's drill out the rivets and remove the patch. And bam, there's a rust hole. So now I'll be able to cut that out and fix that properly. So now when you're underneath the truck and you're looking up into this little cab corner area, you won't see that rust hole in there. So now that the body mounts are done back there, I think I'm gonna cut that area out on both sides, and we'll get that repaired and fixed up. And I think that is, other than just surface rust, you know, we still gotta fix this, and we gotta do the rocker and the lower cab corner over here. We're probably gonna have to do something with this cab corner over here. But those two little holes that are up above the body mounts, like, that is the last bit of rust on this truck. Besides the couple of things that I just pointed out, you know, that was it. That was the last couple little pieces that I didn't think I was going to be able to get to, and I had already told my buddy that I wasn't going to do them, but he'll be happy to know that it's done now. So, right now I'm gonna stop the video where we're at. You know, we got the body mounts done. I did a lot of talking. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys. But if I jump up to the front and start doing stuff up there, I gotta kind of brainstorm and get it figured out what we're gonna do. As you can see under here. So we have a bit of a gap issue there that you know, we're not really connecting to that bar quite right. You know, if you guys remember, I mean, that bar was pretty big, and we cut a lot of it off because it was all bent out of shape. Now we have the depth part, you know, it goes underneath that center bar, it's just not connecting to it. Now I had the jack underneath it holding it up earlier, before I took it over here to do the body mount, and we were, you know, maybe a 1/4 inch away from being able to weld it, and I don't have that body bolt tight. So I think if I get the jack underneath there, I jack it up to where we were about a 1/4 inch from it, and then I tighten up that body mount and maybe get that that hockey puck to compress a little bit, I think we'll have enough to weld to it. And then once I get it welded, we can, you know, once I get it welded onto that bar, we can go from there. And you know, I don't know if maybe we'll box it up a little bit, or we'll add a little bit of something or other here or there to strengthen it up. But I think that's, you know, I think that's the next step. Like I said, I need to pull that bar out, and we need to clean it up and get it ready to weld into the frame. But I want to get that piece up and tacked in, or kind of, you know, somewhat welded to the that new cross member bar before we weld it into the frame, because then I could take it out and I could flip it over here on the table. We can brace it up and strengthen it up. However, we need to up here on the table, and then slide it back into the truck and weld it in place in the truck. So that's my next step. But while I brainstorm and get it figured out, I'll leave you guys alone, and I'll bring you back into the mix when we're ready to, I don't know, wrap that part of the truck up. So that's the last body mount that we got to do. And then once we get that all in place, we can go back to the radiator, which we started last week, which, you know, it's not bad. It's only Wednesday. I think we started the radiator thing on Thursday or Friday, so it's only been a week, and we threw the body mounts in the mix, which wasn't, you know, wasn't part of the plan. Like I said, I just kind of squirreled. So, and not only that, but we got the whole, you know, the whole fender situation over there and hood situation pretty much taken care of as well in that whole mix. Like I said, it was we kind of squirreled a little bit, but I think we fixed a bunch more stuff that wasn't planned on being done. So I'll see you guys soon. Okay, so I did little brainstorming, got the jack back underneath here. I tightened up this body mount or cord support mount here, and let's see. So we are pretty much touching at the front there, so I can get a weld across there and we'll be good to go. And then I'm thinking that we'll just I'll make some new pieces. You know, we have that 1/8 inch steel there. I'll make some new pieces that will mount to the side of these, and we'll run them all the way, you know, to the back of this, and then weld it all the way across, and I think we'll be good. But before we do any of that, I need to get my buddy who owns a truck over here, and we need to put the radiator in, and make sure that he's happy with the room. I think we got plenty of room now. And also, you know, he was saying with the balancer and the pulley on here, with that old bar that was in here, like he said that there was only like an 1/8 inch of room or so. He said it was almost touching. I didn't get to see it with it in there, but he said that it was almost touching. So I think we need to get the balancer and the pulley over here and get that installed and set the radiator in place before we start messing with any of this, because, you know, this bar can go forward some. You know, we may our little hockey puck setup down here, you know, we may have to do like what we did with these down here, and you know, run them through a hole saw and you know, take a little bit off of it, just you know, give us a little room, and maybe there won't be, you know, so much overhang here, because inside here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but that hockey puck is right there. So we can really, I think we can only go, you know, towards the front of the truck like a 1/4 of an inch before we're hitting the hockey puck. I think that we're good right now. Like, I'd go ahead and weld it in, but we do need to, you know, we need to double check everything, and there's just stuff here that there's stuff that's not here that I need before we weld this in. So that's a story for another day. I will see you guys later. I am out. We are done with the Jeep for the evening. So see you guys later.